Hello and welcome to ASBTDC TV, a product of a partnership between the University of Arkansas Small Business and Technology Development Center and the Northwest Arkansas Council Small Business Emergency Assistance Program. In this series, we're talking with small businesses, experts, and ASBTDC consultants about the relevant and right now topics and solutions for small business. I'm Amy Robinson.
And I'm Chris Case, and we would like to welcome today with us Lori Lieblong from the ASBTDC. And Lori, I'm going to jump over to you and just, I wanted to hear a little bit more about you and what you guys do, because you guys touch a lot of small businesses in this area and help them out, especially during this COVID period. So tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Thank you, Chris. So I'm Lori. I've been with the ASBTDC for 4.5 years, and we normally help small businesses and people looking to start small businesses by helping them write business plans and put together financial projections and all of the things that they would need to put together to secure financing to start a small business. We also help existing small business owners with marketing support, as well as help with operations and managing finances to help support their existing small businesses. I generally tell people when I meet them, just come in with your questions. Our services are very broad in scope, and we'll see how we can help you.
That's a really good introduction from because it's and starting a small business, and can be overwhelming, and so coming in and helping to find even a place to start is absolutely huge. And I know that we have enjoyed working with you and learning about everything that that ASBTDC does. And one of the things that we are not surprised at, but during COVID, we were really helping businesses navigate changes and the finances, but people are still starting businesses and they're buying and selling businesses right now. And one of the things that has come up several times with clients is about market research and do we do market research? And I'm always so excited to say, yes, let me send you to Lori. So tell us about market research and what kind of application that would have for a business, why somebody would come to you for that, and just what that looks like in real life application.
Yeah, so the market research is something that really impressed me when I started working for the ASBTDC. I spent 10 years working for industry and large companies that spend a lot of money on market research in order to market to consumers. It's really critical that companies invest in market research to build great products and build really good marketing plans. So we really see a value in it. And as part of our consulting services, it's free to our clients. So it's a really valuable resource. So I'm just going to walk through today what a market research plan would look like for a client opening, say, a women's clothing store, and what that would look like. So if somebody came into my office and they said they wanted to open a women's clothing store, I've got kind of a process that I use with clients on getting kind of up and running that includes something with a business plan, with financials, but also marketing research. So to start, I would ask the client if they had some customer locations picked out. And then we would talk about whether or not they felt like they were going to draw customers from a 5, 10 minute, 30-minute radius, or a 5 mile, 10 mile, 30-mile radius. And we would choose the trade area or that particular radius or multiple radiuses to start and use that to create our market research area. First, I'd pull a market profile. That's a detailed demographic profile, looking at the demographics for the people living within that area. So that 5, 10, or 30-minute drive time radius, or 5, 10, 30-mile radius. And that gives a really good picture of the demographics of the people living in that area. I would also suggest that we pull tapestry segment information. And that's looking at consumer segments living in the area around those particular locations. And a consumer segment is a group of homogenous people looking at their age, their income, their lifestyle, their behaviors. So what kind of homes do they live in? What are their attitudes on spending? What kind of behaviors do they engage in? Are they active? What kind of television do they like to watch? What kind of cars do they like to drive? So that you can really drill down and understand these types of people. And we're able to do that through these reports that we're able to pull. So you can really understand the types of people, not just the demographics, how much money they make, how expensive their homes are, but really understand the types of people they are.
That's
In
amazing.
addition,
I just want to comment on that because that's incredible. Demographics, people just kind of know what a demographic is, but that deeper dive is huge. That behavior and spending, that's amazing. That is so cool.
I was going to say, Lori, I've started 5 businesses in my career, and that would have given me such a jump start to talk to you. So I don't know where you've been for the last 20 years, but I should have used you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really helpful. You know, I had a client that was starting a premium pet store, for example, and they were looking at Rogers versus Bentonville versus Fayetteville, and they really wanted to live in Fayetteville. They really loved Fayetteville, but we started looking at the consumer research, and they were selling really premium pet products. And we just looked at the consumer research, and it really just said that Benton County was going to be a better place for them to open the store. And so they did. And they have found success with their store up in Benton County. They're rocking and rolling. I talked to them earlier this year. They've stayed a client. They were probably a client the first year I did this 4.5 years ago. They took their first beach vacation away from the business this year.
Okay.
And so that's big for a small business owner when both
Yes, it is.
go take a long vacation out of the country. And this research really helped them to make that decision. It really did. So following the tapestry segments, I would look into our consumer spending and market potential reports. Those allow us to look at a variety of different reports. We could look at retail goods and services, which is what we would look at if you're looking to open a retail store. We could look at what people are spending on women's clothing, for example. But I would also suggest that somebody open a clothing store also look at reports looking at sports and leisure and recreation activities, just so that a store owner could get a better understanding of what their consumers are doing on the weekends and doing with their time. You can understand how to market to them and better understand your consumer. It's not only important to know what they're spending on your products and services, but just to understand your consumer in general. What are their behaviors? What are their attitudes? What are they doing? And really get into their heads. We also have reports on what people are spending on finances, health and beauty products, pet products, financial products, home expenditures, all kinds of things for various different businesses. We can also run custom variable reports. So for example, for someone opening a women's clothing store, we can look at what people are spending on women's suits, women's blouses, women's activewear, and really drill down so you can find out what you need to keep in an assortment, for example. So you could combine that with what people are doing in sports and leisure and find out, okay, what are people spending on women's activewear? How many people are jogging? Do I buy jogging shorts, for example?
Yeah, this is taking so much guessing. And, you know, I love intuition. I love, you know, external observation, but this is taking guessing out of it, really.
It does.
Yeah, it really, really, really does. It really does. So then in addition to that, it's really important not only to look at your consumer, but really understand the industry. You know, we've got this wonderful thing called Amazon right now. So if you're thinking about opening up a retail clothing store, it's really important to understand the industry and the industry dynamics and how do you make retail successful when you've got something like Amazon and online shopping out there and being successful. So we're able to pull industry research like First Research that really delves into the competitive landscape, the industry dynamics, and gives a lot of detail about the overall industry for a variety of industries. We can pull it on restaurants, clothing stores, breweries. I've pulled it on every business I have started in the 4.5 years that I've been working in this industry. We also have IBIS reports that really drills down into industry drivers, strengths and weaknesses. I think there's actually a SWOT analysis in the IBIS reports. We can also pull BizMiner, which helps us look at financial metrics at the local level for certain businesses. So you can really decide, okay, if I'm thinking about owning a business, what do my advertising spending metrics need to look like as a percent of sales? What do my labor costs need to look like as a percent of sales? Who are my competitors in a particular geography? We also have a report that we can pull to look at competitors in a particular geography. And we can pull all of this for particular geographies. I said in the beginning that we had the competitor or the customer location in a 5, 10 minute, 30-minute radius. And so it's really important to know that we can pull that and several of those for any location. We can pull it by city, by county, all of that. So we can get really creative. We can pull these multiple times in multiple different ways and get really creative. We also have Statista data that allows us to look at consumption information, brand data. And so that's really helpful if you think you're opening a women's clothing store. Let's look for athletic wear. Let's look at Lululemon. What's the consumption data for Lululemon? What's the consumption data for Nike? What's the consumption data for ASICS, for example? How are those brands performing if you're thinking about putting them in your store? So those are just some of the reports that I would run if I was looking at a clothing store. The reports might be different if I was thinking about a restaurant or a law firm. But the point is, we've got really valuable things. Like I said, I spent 10 years in private industry working for large consumer products companies that spent tens of millions of dollars on market research that as part of our consulting services, we can offer up to consumers for free. And this
is exactly what I was thinking as you were going through all of these reports. That's exactly what was crossing my mind. I was just like, and it's all for free. That just keeps going through my head over and over and over again. I'm curious so that was obviously a retail store that you used as a great example. But then you mentioned law firms and others. So just kind of the breadth of what this kind of service, who this service can serve. I know that I sent you a medical client the other day who was looking at, do I expand? Do I not expand? What else? What is everybody else doing? Kind of question.
So we have a report on health and beauty and what people are spending on health products, and that includes like spending behaviors on chiropractors, family practitioners, what kind of medications people are taking. And so some of those factors might be important for a physician or a health practitioner of some kind. That's a report I would pull for a physician, for example. You can also pull a report called a business summary, and it tells you how many businesses are in a certain location, the geography that you choose. So he would be able to say how many medical services are in a particular area. We can also pull a competitive report for a particular geography. And that helps you to know, like, okay, is the market saturated with family practitioners, given how many people are taking a prescription drug or how many people have visited a chiropractor? If you've only got 100 people who have visited a chiropractor, you've got a competitive listing that says there are 30 chiropractors in this particular geography, and you've got a business summary report that says there are 30 chiropractors. It might not be a good idea to open your chiropractic practice in that particular area. But
this is real-time data, correct? This is real-time data that you have all the time.
Market profile. I think the market profile data is census data.
Okay.
It's run every year. I'd have to look at the reports to find out like when it's actually run, but it's recent.
Yeah. That gives such
That's
a great. So, Lori, I don't. Maybe Chris was going to ask this question. I'm just curious, what if of all the years that you've been doing this, naming no names, but like, what is one of your favorite clients that you've worked with when it comes to running market research for them?
Amy, I was going to ask that very question. You're right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to save it for you. I didn't take it from you. I was just like, we've got to get this one in.
That's awesome.
Oh, I don't even begin to know. I think maybe that pet store because the research made such an impact on their decision, and the fact that they made the right decision has made such an positive impact on their business. I kind of tend to be like a results driven person. So like, okay, we made this decision, we ran this research, we made this decision on based on the research. It had a positive impact on their business. They're succeeding because of it. They're taking vacations. They've been able to hire other people. They're living a happy life. They're satisfied with where they live. And so that's probably one of my favorites, I think, is because
that's a great example.
The end goal of the research was realized. You know, like we did the work, we pulled the research, and ultimately their business is successful. They're happy, they love what they're doing, and they've got balance, and the business is successful. You know, I still keep in touch with them. I go to see them about once a year just to check in and see how they're doing and see if they need any help. And they're rocking and rolling.
You all do so much. Yes. It's just such an amazing service, and we've loved learning about it. So thank you for being here today. And we have some information up on the screen. So if anybody needs to get a hold of you, the sbdc@uark.edu is a great way to get in touch. And if you are watching or listening, thank you for joining us. If you have a suggested topic, a question you need answered, someone you'd like to hear from, a story that you'd like to share, please contact us at bizhelp@uark.edu. That's BUSHELP at uark.edu and put TV in the subject line. If you're interested in benefiting from our free one-on-one consulting assistance and amazing market research, please sign up at sbtdc.uark.edu. Thank you so much, Lori. This was just amazing. Thanks.